Friends, welcome. I want to share with you an opportunity in which we all have a role to play, an opportunity to secure our Franciscan legacy, its intellectual tradition, its spirituality, its theology, an opportunity to plant roots that will grow and flourish in generations to come. It's the opportunity to create at the Center for Catholic Studies in Durham University a permanent home for the future of Franciscan studies in the English-speaking world. No less than 8 Catholic tertiary institutions have been lost over the past 16 years in the UK alone, and there have been additional closures in the United States and elsewhere. Yet amidst this decline, the Center for Catholic Studies at Durham University is thriving at the heart of a world-leading Department of Theology and Religion, at one of the most prestigious public institutions in the English-speaking world. It is here at Durham that we propose to create a new program for the Franciscan community by endowing a permanent chair, a permanent post. This post will have the type of intellectual leadership around which the Franciscan tradition can grow and flourish and have a lasting import and impact upon society. There's an urgency that we not lose this Franciscan tradition. This new program will enable advanced degrees to be pursued and will have embedded into it Franciscan conferences, seminars, retreats, summer schools, fellowships, scholarships. Now let's find out more.
The Center for Catholic Studies is a research center, teaching and outreach center. One of the many unique things about it is that we are a university-founded body, but we would not be able to exist were it not for strong and multiple partnership with Catholic communities, plural, local, national and international. And many of our staff, myself included, work on various Vatican bodies, and we're delighted to be able to do so.
I teach Catholic social teaching, which in a way is a fantastic combination of both that long-term tradition of looking at history and texts and thinking about the big ideas of the tradition, but also at looking at the lived experience of Catholicism as lived out in such diverse ways across the globe.
One thing that I really love about the Centre for Catholic Studies is that it's really built up wonderful links both locally and nationally and internationally with the Church.
The CCS is really open and inclusive. It welcomes everybody and takes everybody under its wings. This is all part of the CCS's commitment to the ecumenical nature of theology and indeed the Christian experience itself.
We've got 2 endowed posts thus far. We've got multiple fixed-term postdoctoral positions, in the main funded by various religious congregations. Then we have posts that are funded directly by the university, one of which is mine.
I teach 2 modules here at Durham. One is an undergraduate module on St. Bonaventure. We look at Bonaventure's theology from his understanding of God and creation all the way through to the last things, so heaven and hell and purgatory. The second module that I teach is an MA module called High Medieval Franciscan Theology. So this module covers all the major Franciscan thinkers of the 13th century. It looks at their thinking on Trinity, Incarnation, Christ, and the human person. We normally have around 12 or 13 students on the MA module and around 16 or so on the undergraduate module, which is quite a large number for both MA and third year undergraduate.
I began my program last year, and it's actually a co-tutelle doctorate, which is like a joint degree between Durham University and the Antonianum University in Rome. And it's the first time that this agreement has been established, so I'm really excited about it.
Well, I've been working with the Centre for Catholic Studies in Durham for almost 10 years now. We've really developed a really good working relationship, so much so that we've just completed a multi-volume history of Catholicism in Britain and Ireland.
The Franciscan presence in England, particularly since the early 13th century, gives a kind of continuity to that history, that rich history of 8 centuries of Franciscan scholarship in Britain.
There is nowhere in the UK in which Franciscan research is done anymore. The only natural place to come is the CCS, for the fact that it has such a depth of experience in medieval theology and philosophy, and because it fits with the Franciscan notion of what theology is, that it is a practical science, that it's not just about perfecting the head, but also perfecting the heart. It's about making us better people, not just better thinkers.
We're a large religious order, about 10,000 members. We're 25 in this country, and in that, with the closure of one of our big houses, our mother houses, we wanted to open something new, so we ended up coming here to Durham. Our connection with this part of the country, this northeast, goes back nearly 800 years. So for us, it's a bit of a rebirth back into Durham.
My experience here at the Franciscan Friary has been wonderful. In many ways, it's providential that a new friary has been founded here because it means I have a home for my doctoral studies. But it's neat to be a part of an emerging community, to be a part of this kind of new birth of friars here at Durham with this new vision. I found the community life really fruitful. We have a really profound life of prayer, which has been nourishing for me in my own studies. And it's been great getting to know the guys and being part of the fraternity here in Great Britain as well.
I'm really excited about the possibility of further embedding Franciscan Studies into the Center for Catholic Studies. I was very, very moved by the conference we had in 2019. It was just one of the highlights of my life as an academic to spend a few days surrounded by so many Franciscans and such enthusiasm, and the thought that that can go on and that we will continue to have that kind of presence here is just really wonderful.
The theologians of tomorrow are generally not going to be formed in seminaries and religious houses. They are increasingly going to be formed in secular universities, many of them lay people. We're trying to do that in a way that brings the richness of the overall formation of the theologian in a religious house into the mainstream public university.
Franciscan theology, the home for it here in Durham, would allow it to be not just national but international. And that's to do with the reputation both of the CCS and the university itself. It would mean that Franciscan theology takes its place again as one of the leading areas of research, both within the UK and Europe and indeed wider.
We've lost many Franciscan institutions in this country, and one of the attractions is that it would attract Franciscans from all over the world to come and study here and witness to our way of life. And therefore we see this as a bedrock of our Franciscan life here in Britain, but for the wider world, especially the English-speaking world.
We're actually launching this coming autumn a new distance learning master's program. We've had tremendous enthusiasm from the wider university institution. It's exactly what they think we should be doing. They've hired a digital developer for the humanities who's keen to help us. We have a tremendous library, which is almost all available electronically now. So we're just very well placed to set up, not just a little bit of teaching, but something that somebody can really go quite deeply and prepare for research, or they can go as deeply as they want, really, without having to move.
I have a particular passion about online and digital learning and the possibilities, particularly in a post-pandemic moment, for opening up the fantastic resources that we have in our Department of Theology and Religion at Durham to a wider audience of people who maybe don't have the chance to come and move here for a long period of time, but would like to access some of the fantastic teaching resources that we have here.
International collaboration across the globe, and aided by the kind of technology we have today, and the kind of work that people in Durham are doing on digitisation and making things more accessible to a wider public. This is vital to our endeavour, not just in terms of funding, which is what people always think of, but also in terms of the real intellectual capital that can be generated by international collaboration of this kind.
Our hopes for the future are that together we can create a stable, vital, vibrant home for an international programme for Franciscan Studies here within the Centre for Catholic Studies at Durham University. A place that can be a home for a programme of conferences, summer schools, modules and research supervision. a place that can really put Franciscan Studies on the map again in the English-speaking academy?
I think the Center for Catholic Studies at Durham provides a kind of unique opportunity within the English-speaking world to combine a really top-flight research university with a very credible academic program in Franciscan Studies.
I think that the Franciscan tradition has something to offer to the church, and the fact that an institution like Durham University is excited about fostering that tradition and passing it on excites me and gives me great hope.
No theology and no religious order can exist without a very strong theological and philosophical tradition. So we see the Centre of Catholic Studies as a prism that will radiate the Franciscan tradition throughout the English-speaking world.
Many Catholic providers of higher education in these isles have closed. They closed because it is very, very expensive and difficult to run a discrete Catholic institution and all the central bureaucracy that's required. The magic of the Centre for Catholic Studies is that much of that we do not need to provide. There's no ground rent to pay and no roof tiles to repair. All that's required to establish a stable, high-profile and cost-efficient Centre for Franciscan Studies is the posts and the projects.
If Franciscan Studies is founded here, it really will be the beginning of something long-term. That's what an endowment means. That's what a stable institution means. Just as Bede didn't only write history, but he, by writing it, created it. So Franciscan Studies would not just study things in the past, but it would become part of the heritage of the future here.
I would encourage all Franciscan communities to take the possibility of what's being developed here at Durham very seriously. I think sometimes we can have in our mind that others will kind of take care of our tradition for us, but we need to take the steps to make sure that our tradition is being fostered, it's being cultivated, and it's being passed down to future generations. And this is a concrete way in which we can do that and in which we can engage in the outpouring of our tradition to future generations.
Durham can't do it alone, and arguably the Franciscan family can't do it alone. But together we can make something unique, special, and lasting happen.
I have been deeply impressed by the work of the CCS and its commitment to the comprehensive program in Franciscan Studies. It has already forged strong partnerships with Franciscan groups across the globe, and together they have already raised nearly half the initial £2.2 million needed for the permanent post. So now is the opportunity, the Franciscan moment, for the rest of you to seize the day and to invest in this initiative, so that its young shoots can have deep and lasting roots. I urge you to commit generously and decisively in order to make this happen. Thank you very, very much.